What's up everyone, David here. Hope you guys are having a great day. Welcome back to MixPass TV. Totally candid video. I was here mixing and I read this article. I actually saw the headline a couple of days ago and then I was taking a break and read this article. That made me very, very happy for two reasons. One is because the news is Korn is writing new music and heading back into studio to record the new album. So let's go, first of all. And second, and this is the massive statement, is that they said that they are gonna do this album old school, all analog, and recording everything on tape. I'm not sure if people realize how impactful this statement is, and I'm not exaggerating. Korn is an institution. They have been at the top of the game for more years than I can count, and still are. And the fact that this giant band is going back to tape and all analog is a massive statement. It goes against everything that is trendy, so to speak, now, and the digital and the AI BS and all that. And of course, if someone like me says it, has no way, I'm nobody. But if someone like that does it, it sets a precedent and it restarts a trend. And I am pretty sure we will see that a lot of bands and artists will go back, not necessarily to tape, but to iron, right? For a reason I dare to say. But the funny thing, and this is the second half of the video, is that I just finished mixing 3 songs. This is a project that I cannot talk about it, so I can't play you anything, but timing is perfect because these 3 songs are a transfer from tape. What are the chances? And so I just want to show you guys how a full band track to tape looks like. And I know we don't look at tracks, but we do look at tracks, right? And I also want to say that these 3 songs, the mixes came together so much faster and so much easier. Granted that these are not high track counts, which was kind of the norm when we had tape. It's a full acoustic drums, guitars, bass, and vocals. So it's not super low count like a hip hop track, but it's not like 100 tracks. But still, it's a fair amount of tracks. And I mixed all 3 songs in 1.5 days, which is pretty fast. They really came together well. And another interesting thing is that I really didn't have to work that hard to make the 3 songs consistent. The differences between mixes were pretty minor, and especially the hardware, once I mixed the first song, everything else was pretty much the same, right? And that comes from the fact that this is an old recording done on tape. The guys were just playing, like roll the tape and play the first song, then take a break, play the second song. Funny enough, in one of the songs, there's the beginning, the song starts, and then it ends after 30 seconds. Probably someone messed up, or they were just, warming up, rehearsing. And instead of stopping the tape, rewind, waste time, we're just keep rolling, and they started the song again. So I had this false start it was pretty cool because I don't get that many projects that are recorded on tape. I don't think anybody does. So I just want to show you the tracks, but these were kind of interesting point. The mixes really came together much easier. In my personal opinion, they sound badass, also because the band is totally badass. I wish I could tell you more. Maybe I will later. Maybe I will get clearance later on. I don't know. But let's take a look at the tracks. I want to show them to you. So check this out. This is the kick drum. All right, we got 2 kick drums. Look at this. Look at the consistency of these tracks. It's a real drums, all right? And this is the snare. Again, like a little bit of dynamic, but it's like so consistent. These are a little more jagged because it's toms, so they only come out when, they actually play toms and everything else is bleed. This is a hat. Look at this. Overheads. And these are the 3 songs. 1, 2, and 3, right? Look how consistent they are. This is mono room. Look at this. And then cymbals. This is a spot mic for cymbals, ride, and a crash. And then we have some percussions. And then look at the bass. We have DI, microphone 1 and microphone 2. Look how crazy controlled they are. And then we scroll down, we have, this is a clean-ish guitar. It's a little more dynamic, so is this. The two of the songs, the second and the third, are super heavy, and the first one is like a weird kind of intro thing. It's interesting, but especially 2 and 3, there are the heavy songs. Look at this. These are guitars, right? All these are guitars. Look how freaking beautiful they look. And they're not chopped off, by the way. If I zoom in, you can see, right? It's nothing like a limiter or a clipper. It looks pretty cool. This is another guitar, an additional guitar, and then the vocals. And this will probably make people go, oh, now I understand. These are vocals. Look at this. And probably, I mean, I wasn't present for the recording, so probably there was some compression, or maybe not, I don't know. But as far as I can tell from listening to the raw tracks, it doesn't really seem like there was much on it. They all sound pretty natural, good recording, good performance. And, you know, maybe there was some compression, I don't know. But it definitely, this one looks like tape saturation, right? More than compression. You don't see the envelope, but, you know, I'm just wild guessing here. But still, the result is the same. Look at this. On these vocals, I had a little bit of a blue stripe, because we're like talking about, you know, metal heavy, rock metal heavy vocals. So it was more for the tone of the 1176 than the dynamic control. In fact, we usually, when I get modern songs recorded on, you know, digital, so computer, you saw my clips on Instagram. There's usually like 20 dB compression going on either, you know, blue stripes or distressor or dictator or something like that. On this one, I was just barely tapping it. It was just more for the color, all right? And a little bit of EQ with the 825 to brighten it up, and that was pretty much it. A de-esser, not much. These are extra vocals here. You see harmonies and backing vocals, and that's pretty much it. That's kind of interesting. I just wanted to show you guys this because we don't see that often, and it's pretty awesome. And although I'm not suggesting I would personally go back to tape, also I don't record that much anymore. I mean, there's a couple of albums right now that I'm producing completely, and I'm not sure even if I had, you know, the means or the time or anything, I would personally go back to record on tape, because I've been using tape for very, very little. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna make it sound like I'm an expert. I used probably tape for the first year ever that I was in an actual studio when I started, and we already had the computer. So, you know, it was a back and forth, and I don't have that much experience. Could I do it? Yes, probably. I definitely couldn't do anything on it. So, but because, you know, it's expensive. You need machines need to be serviced and maintained to the T, but still, it's nice to receive projects on tape, recorded on tape, and the mixes come together so well. I think there's a whole combination of things. Just the fact that the band were all playing together. There's no editing on this project. There's no auto-tune. There's no timing on grid, and it sounds, oof. It's probably, I want to believe that this is kind of the closest mix that I've done to, you know, what Andy Wallace, my favorite mixes that Andy Wallace did in the, you know, late 90s and 2000s, which are arguably one of my biggest inspirations. So I'm happy there's this kick bass guitar combination when, you know, there's a breakdown and they hit together. That might be the first time that I actually get it the way I want it, the way I always want it. And maybe tape has something to do with it, or maybe I got better, or maybe I got lucky. I don't know. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Become a MixBuzz TV member if you want to access the in-depth mix and mastering videos. And if you want to book mix and mastering with me, go to the website. You can also find all the mix and mastering courses there. If you want to support the channel, consider using the super thanks or grab some merch. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Stay safe. See you next time. Analog forever.